Welcome to another exciting episode of What Are You Reading? What Are You Writing? I'm your host, Karen E. Osborne. If you have not met me before, I am the author of 4 novels, and my latest historical fiction is True Grace, set in 1924, Harlem Renaissance, roaring 20s. And it was inspired by my grandmother, whose name was Grace. And I am eager to introduce you to my guest today. So her name is Diane Marie Brown. Now you publish under the full name, right? Diane Marie Brown.
Correct.
Excellent. And let me just tell you a little bit about her, and then you'll get to meet her. Her debut novel is Black Candle Women. Now listen to this. It's a Read with Jenna book club pick. It is a Best Book of the Month by Shondaland, Ms. Magazine, Today.com, Reader's Digest, Katie Couric Media, AARP Sisters. I have to ask you about that one. And look, way too young to be involved with AARP. Goodreads and Book Riot. A warm and wry family drama with a magical twist about 4 generations of Black women, family love curse, and the secrets they keep for and from each other over one complicated year. I know you are totally intrigued. So, Diane, so tell me, in less than a year, you've accumulated all of these amazing accolades. That must just feel so, so good. And so, how did you move from public health to being this award-winning, celebrated novelist?
Oh, well, thank you so much, first of all, for having me and for that opening. It's very, very nice. Well, technically, I haven't moved. I am here in my office at Orange Coast College, where I teach public health full time. So my day job is still public health, and I also still contribute at a local health department. And so that is my main bread and butter, but I've always wanted to be a writer. That was, I mean, I don't want to call it a hobby because it's something that I actively sought to write books or stories that got published because I wanted to share them with other people, but just had some challenges finding an agent. I've worked on a few different books. So this is the first book that I published, but it's not the first book that I've had agented. It's not the first book that I've written. So this was just the right timing. Everything just kind of lined up. So I've worked on this book for many years and pitched it for many years, and the star just kind of aligned where it happened to be at a time when it met up with like the Read with Jenna book club or just some of the other opportunities that I've had.
That's wonderful. Yes, it is a struggle, isn't it, being a writer? We do have to pitch and pitch, and it does take us time to get the books read and in the right position. And I am very, very blessed that every book that I've written has been published, but I also had that really long struggle and all those darn rejection letters, which
They break your heart.
they do. And then the stars, as you say, line up, right? So we're on our way. So the story just sounds so intriguing. Tell us the premise.
So Black Candle Woman tells the story of the Montrose family. So this is 4 generations of women that live together in a house in Long Beach, California, Southern California, and they're really isolated from most of the world. And this is a life they built to protect themselves from a deadly curse, one that leaves anyone unfortunate enough to fall in love with them dead. So this is a secret they've kept from the youngest Montrose member, Nikki, who is a high school senior. But the pressure is on to tell her about the curse after she brings home a love interest for the first time. And they try to just have her focus on other things, but eventually have to tell her about the curse. And so as they grapple with this, with Nikki trying to fight against it, some of the other women in the family dealing with the curse in their different ways, we go back to 1950s New Orleans to learn about the curse's origin that was put into place by a voodoo sorceress. So that is.
Wow. Wow. Are you from New Orleans?
I am not, but my family is from Louisiana. So both of my parents are from Louisiana, and I spent many a summer in New Orleans, getting there by train, as do my characters. At one point, in my mother was a teacher, so we would take the train and spend summers there when I was in my preteen years and
Mm,
up until I think I was like 14, 15. Yeah.
yeah, cool. That is very exciting. So a curse, a family curse, right? Generational curse.
Yeah.
So as you think about the four women that are the focus of the story, now is one of them the main protagonist?
That's a good question. Because when I first started writing it, I had in mind who I thought was my protagonist, but it would shift. I would kind of grow close to one character and feel like, okay, well, they are the main character, right? And so really thinking about who has the major um change by the end of the novel. And I think all of them do.
Mm,
But there might be one that does slightly more than the others. So I sometimes think about Victoria as the main character, but sometimes I think about the matriarch as the main character. Sometimes I think about the teenager as the main character. So I don't know, it kind of shifts for me depending
I like
upon,
that.
yeah.
It's kind of cool to have four main characters. I like that. So what do you love about these women?
Uh, I loved I love their feistiness, and the way that they have kind of shaped their lives, managed to shape their lives for so long. But the fact that they still are connected to um, New Orleans, they practice in different forms. Either voodoo or hoodoo or both, and seeing them apply that kind of out of the context of New Orleans and the French Quarter, just in a out of a craftsman home in Southern California. Um, I just think that's a lot of fun, and I just enjoyed getting to know them. I really love relationships between women. I had a beloved aunt that passed away, so I love relationships between nieces and aunts. And so I really wanted to push into that as a relationship. So yeah, the way they support each other. Sometimes they don't do things in the best way to support each other, but I think most of what they do really stems from how much they love each other.
It's nice. I like that. Uh, so now someone is finished reading the end. What do you want them to take away?
Um, Well, I want people to think about kind of these self-fulfilling prophecies, oftentimes put on us by other people, whether they say it or even if it's unspoken, we just perceive it or we just know the intentions that somebody else has for us.
Mm,
And so one is, we don't have to um, pursue or love or follow a path that somebody else has in mind for us. We get to set our own path, even if somebody feels that they might know what is best for us. And also about fighting for what you really want. If you are passionate about something, not letting something, not even a curse, get in your way for pursuing what you want.
I like that. Yes. So often people have some image of us, and that we're supposed to behave in a certain way or act in a certain way or live in a certain place. So that's a great message, that we don't have to do that. Even
Yeah,
if it's a curse, we don't
right?
have to do that. Are you working on something now?
I am. It's keeping me busy with my public health, my teaching, and everything else. So I spend my weekends and my evenings working on my next project, which I'm doing a lot of research on, but it's another book that has some magical elements. We go back to the past. So there's some similarities, but very different plot and very different characters.
Cool. That's exciting. That is exciting. And it'll be so much easier getting this one published, right? I
I
mean,
certainly hope so.
it will be. Now that you're out there, it'll be so much easier. Do you ever think about going back to some of those books that didn't get published and reworking them or sending them out in the world?
Maybe I wrote, the first one especially, I wrote it so long ago that the world has changed so much. Some of the plot devices wouldn't even work now because you can get information so much easier now than it was a while ago. Um,
Yes.
but the characters, I might bring back some of the characters that I've created in past stories.
Yeah, we do fall in love with them, don't we?
Yes.
We care about them. So this is, what are you reading? What are you writing? So I have two reading questions.
Okay.
One is, was there a book or an author that really had a big impact on either you as a human being or
Mhm.
you as a writer?
Yes. I definitely would have to say Terry McMillan,
Mm.
because although I used to write a lot just kind of for fun, I always wrote stories like in high school and I read a lot. But it wasn't until I read Terry McMillan that I thought about being a writer, that I said, oh, this books are not just being created in this, warehouse somewhere by this machine. They are actually people behind it. And we got to see Terry. We connected with her as an audience. And so I think she was really instrumental in me just having this idea that I could possibly be a writer. And then just for their work, Zora Neale Hurston, and I really like the writing style of Jeffrey Eugenides. I'm not really even sure how to say his name, but he wrote Middlesex, which is one of my
Oh,
favorite.
yes. Mm,
And so, yes, I'd say those three are big ones.
great. And is there anything you have recently read that you could recommend to our audience that they would want to just go and pick?
Yes, two books, and I don't think I'm biased because they are getting, rave reviews, but I've managed to make a couple of writer friends here in Los Angeles over the last year, and two friends have written phenomenal books that I read over the last few months. So one is Night Wherever We Go by Tracy Rose Payton. And then another book is Sweet, Soft, Plenty Rhythm by Laura Royale. And just in the spirit of Black History Month, they're both
Mm.
Black women writers. They're both debuts, and those are great books. And I also just finished A Love Song for Ricky Wilde by Tia Williams. And currently I'm reading Come and Get It by Kylie Reed. So lots of Black women write. I guess I'm kind of in my Black women writer phase right now.
That's a very good phase to be in. We need to stick together and support each other. So that is wonderful. So if our audience wants to find you online, how can they find out more about you? How can they find your books? How can they be in touch?
Sure. I have my website is just dianemariebrown.com. And on Instagram, I'm at Diane_Marie_Brown. And all the other platforms, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, or whatever Twitter is now, I'm at Writer Die Chick. So like it's a pun on Ride or Die Chick, but writer, Dichick.
All right. Excellent. So I hope that all of you will follow Diane. I hope that you will purchase her book. I hope that you will write a review because reviews are so important to us. And I hope that when you are in contact with her, you'll let her know that you met her on What Are You Reading? What Are You Writing? Hope to see you next week. Bye, everybody.